Hi everyone, it's Linda from Linda's Ease in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and I have a very fun quilt project to show you today. Now, you can also see sitting here next to me is the new Kaffe. I've just fallen in love. It's like my baby, my baby. This is, I call it the vintage machine. It's a Kaffe Facet. The color is even prettier in person than it is on the screen. I just love what he did. And in the machine itself, I guess we didn't turn this on. Maybe I'll turn it on. It is on. Whoops. Okay, I couldn't tell from the lights here. But the one of our gals at the store, we just got it in. Everybody is getting their what they call their floor models. We still have to wait to get your regular machine, so you'll be seeing that with everybody. But we do have special packages for you on this machine. What we did, sorry, I turned it off now, it's going back on again. Look at these darling, gorgeous, beautiful little stitches that we sewed out here. I'm going to take the foot out so you can kind of see them. I don't know if you can get that up close, but it's, I think they're, even the alphabet is just beautiful. And these are exclusive Kaffe Facet stitches that are not on on USB in a design collection somewhere. They are only made by Kaffe. So they're only in the machine itself. So if you want some of these gorgeous little stitches that are very compatible with his fabrics, that's the great thing about it, you will have to buy the machine. And then the other thing that I don't have here, but we do have it, is the 770. That's a bigger machine, and I'm going to sew my binding on, by the way, with this little machine. I wanted to be able to see it. I'll do that in another video so you can see it. But what's really great about this this machine is that you can carry it with to class. It's just an easy machine to travel with. The other machine, and I'll tell you, I want both. I know we have quite a few deposits down on both machines. Literally, people have come in. They've seen some of the advertising. They didn't even see the machine. And they bought and they put their $500 deposit down on both the 770 and the small travel, what they call the travel machine. So if that's somebody like you, don't hesitate to let us know, because the new one, the 770, which I'll show in another video, it's bigger, it's got the white front, but the beautiful fabric of Kaffe is all across the front. The wonderful cover, and I don't see the cover here. I know I have it somewhere, so maybe I'm going to step out of the scene for a minute here and grab this cover, because it is, I think it's worth showing. It is just beautiful. Look at what he's done. He's actually designed a cover that is just, it's all out of his fabrics. It's got little pockets in it on all sides, front and back. And then you can put it over your machine so it's even prettier while it's sitting there. And look behind me, the box. I mean, look at how pretty that is. Again, if you know anything about him and about his artistry, he's truly, truly a master. The 770 that I was talking about that he has also done is, like I said, a bigger machine. And it comes with a case, a cover like this, but it also comes with luggage. And I believe this one comes with luggage too. We didn't get the luggage yet, so I'm not sure if that's the case, but I'm pretty sure it does. We have a package like nothing else. There's some really great extra things, so you do want to call us and come in and see it. We have had questions, and I personally have had them asking me, what do you do to finish your quilt once you've either put it on a long arm or you have sent it out to a long armer and they've sent it back to you. So I want to show you how to cut the quilt and get ready for the binding. Now, this has got, on one side, I was going to take one of these rulers and measure it for you. I don't know if it'll be that far. Yeah, she's got about 7 inches, I think Debbie did, on this side. There's usually 4 inches around the outside of the quilt, but then when you put it on the long arm, sometimes you have to adjust it a little. So there's more over here, there's less over here, there's a little more over there, and then a little less over on this side too. The one thing that is really important when you are doing your quilt, if you are sending out to a long armer or you're doing it yourself, of course you know you want that extra amount of batting so that you, and actually there's backing on here too. Now, it's come back, we finished it, you get ready to put the binding on, and what are you going to do? How do you cut it out? Do you take a scissor and just go along the finished edge of the quilt? This one has been basted along the edge, and before I tell you the little secrets that I have for you, I want you to look at this quilt, and some of you know what's been happening in my life, and who do you think this is for? This is for little Charlotte Joy. She is right now, when I'm filming this, I don't know when it's going to come out, but it was, she's about 10 days old, and she's almost 7 pounds now. She was in the NICU because she was 3 weeks early, but she's doing just great. We saw pictures and a video yesterday, and she was smiling, and oh, she's just absolutely darling. So if the mothers would allow, I don't think they do, although I did see pictures on Facebook, which I don't really do. But the pictures were all over the place of her, and she is a pink girl. Her mother is a pink mother, so she definitely wants pink, so you can see what I've done on this quilt. And the back is a very light pink also. Before I can do the binding on this machine, I first have to cut the fabric, right? So what I'm using is this bigger rotary cutter. Now you can use your regular size, it's whatever you're comfortable with. And make sure that your mat, we have a smaller mat in the studio. At home I have a much bigger mat that covers my whole entire cutting table, so I would just go up. This is one of the new longer rulers that Quilters Select has just done, and I don't know if you can get in here real close, Nick, but I am taking, and I'm going to put about 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, I'd almost like to just do 1/8 of an inch. I'm just going to do 1/8 of an inch of this binding. It kind of depends on what the look is that you want for your binding. I want this fill, this batting, which is a real nice soft one, and it's a wool batting. You know, wool is very warm and very cool in the summer. And if you want that batting to fill your binding, you can make it 1/4 inch. If you want it to be smaller, it could be 1/8 of an inch. I am going to make my binding only 2 inches wide. I want it to be smaller. I don't want it to look too big or to compete with the rest of the quilt. So whatever size that you decide that you want, you take your cut edge and you make sure that quilt is squared. And if you've done it on your own long arm, if you've made it, you know it's square. But if it isn't, it comes back from a long armor and it's kind of kitty-wampus, then you want to make sure these edges are squared first. These are all basted, so the edges are really nice and even. I'm going to take this and just do this little, about 1/8 of an inch, and then I just press down slightly as I'm sewing with, as I'm cutting with this. And you can see what I'm doing here. This is a Quilters Select ruler, and see how I'm cutting that? I'm giving that little extra width of the batting right to the edge there. And I'm going to go and continue along. And again, I have to be careful here because I can only go as far as my mat is. But then I'm going to go continue, and then I'm just going to carefully bring it back down here. And if this starts to get in your way, you have a real big amount of batting on the outside, just take a scissor and cut it off up to the edge. And I'm going to continue. Let's bring this all the way down. And you can see how much easier this is with a great big quilt ruler like this. Now I do have these smaller rulers, and you can see if I'm using that, I'm having to do more cuts. And that's why I'm not using that. I love that for other things. I do have this real big wide one that I could do it with too, but again, it's a little harder to control. And this one is very, very easy to control as I'm going up the edge. So what I'm looking at, and let me get this up here so that you can see it. See these little 1/8 of an inch marks here? Start on the edge, here's an 1/8. Here's another 1/8, another 1/8. Here's your half mark. They go this way and they go this way, all the way along. And that's what's so great about this ruler. You've got them in 1/8 inch increments. So I'm going to make this one, this little tiny, again, this is just my personal preference. Usually I use about 1/4 of an inch of the batting. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hold that with my left hand here as I'm doing this. And don't let it slip, because if it slips, it'll give you a, you know, a different measurement from what you're looking for. Okay, I'm going to go up there, have to remeasure. And see, it's nice and sharp. And the reason I like this, I have a smaller one too, but this just kind of cuts through fabric real easy. Now I'm going to go up to the edge here and continue on with that 1/8 of an inch. And again, this is my personal choice. You've got to be careful when you're doing one for yourselves. And you see there's batting on the back here too, or the backing on the back of the batting. All right, I'm just going to get rid of that. And then we'll turn it. Like I said, when I'm doing a bigger quilt, I will fill this with about 1/4 of an inch, and that way it'll just make you look. Now look at how nice this ruler, if my mat went all the way to the end, look at how nice this would be. I get it all. Again, I'm going to just go ahead and cut it right here to here. And what's great about this ruler, you could do left or right-handed. So I'll continue all the way around and I'll show you what it's like when I finish. So we've got the last corner ready to go here. And always do what I did there, close that cutter when you're through. So here's my pretty little quilt. I don't know, can we get in close? Because I want to show them what it looks so pretty with those little cute little llamas and little bunnies and just some really fun little things on the inside. I have taken and let's see, I'm going to grab a couple of things here. I have some real cute little fussy-cut squares. One's got a little bunny on it. The other one has, well, they both have bunnies on them. One's got a llama too. I'm going to take this as my quilt label, and then I'm going to take it to my Bernina 770, the new Kaffe machine, and I'm going to put on there my label so I know who it's from, who it's to, the date, and it will never get lost in, 50 years from now. No one will remember if you don't put something on the back as a memory of who made the quilt for them. That is going to be in another video that I'll do for you. I have done some things on quilt labels, but this is, like I said, a fussy cut one, and I want to show you how to do that. It's quite simple, but again, there's a couple little tips that I think would help you. So you can see, I did this with the rotary cutter. Now, I've asked, many people have asked, well, can I use a scissor? Of course you can. You could definitely use a scissor, but you're going to get it straighter with that rotary cutter as long as your quilt, again, has been squared up, and it really is, it's really got nice square corners. And you can always tell that by matching it up at the end and making sure, which I've done, making sure that these corners and everything are perfectly square, and they are. Again, next week I'm going to show you, or next one of the other videos, I'm going to show you how to start the binding. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I have a binding video that shows you how to do that. However, I have had quite a few people ask me about how much binding do I cut for my fabric, how much fabric do I cut to do my binding, and I'm going to give you techniques and a little cheat sheet so that you'll understand how much you can have cut for your binding. So hope that helps. I hope you've had some fun little ideas of what to do with your quilts. I would love to see you back next time, and I'll be showing you some other techniques. Have a great week, everyone.